All right, so for the CFSC, Certified Functional Strength Coach, certification level 1, they go through all these stages like we're going through. So they go through the movement, power, strength, and conditioning. And then part of the strength is the core aspect of strength. Most of their core exercises are called anti-exercises or anti-core exercises. Anti-core meaning that you're doing basically stability for the spine, and so you're trying to isometrically control the spine as you're either moving the limbs or you're doing that independently. So forearm knee plank would be an anti-extension exercise. So when you're performing a plank, what you're doing is you're trying not to extend the spine. So that's why it's an anti-extension exercise. So the first progression of a forearm plank, or the easiest progression to start when you're starting someone with a plank, is just the forearm knee plank. So setting up in the kneeling position or hands and knees position, drop the hands down. You can hook the fingers together or place the palms face down. I like hooking my hands together. From here, I think squeeze the glutes in this position and around the upper back. From here, and then I'm just gonna hold and breathe. Inhale through the nose, and then I'm gonna exhale, pierce lips out the mouth. And for core exercises, I'm not thinking about how long I'm doing this. I'm thinking of how many inhales and how many exhales. So I'm gonna say things like, all right, so how long am I gonna do that? I'm gonna do that for three inhales, 3 exhales, or 3 breaths. Okay, so I would do 3 breaths there or 5 breaths. So that way I know that they're getting full inhales and exhales. If you tell somebody you want them to do a forearm plank, forearm knee plank for 10 seconds, guess what they'll do? They'll hold their breath for 10 seconds while they're performing a plank. And we don't want them to be holding their breath in planks and in these core positions. We want them to be focusing on that pierce lips out the mouth. That's gonna intensify the abdominal core infrastructure, or the kind of the muscles surrounding the core. So when you exhale, it lights up those core muscles, so it engages the core even more, okay, activates those muscles even more, deepens the exercise, makes the exercise basically more meaningful. So we're not just pointlessly just sitting in this position waiting for something to happen. We're focusing on these things like our breathing. So we would say forearm knee plank, hold for 3 to 5 inhales and exhales. After that, I'm going to progress to the bear plank. Okay, that's going to be a little bit harder than the forearm knee plank, but a little bit easier than the front plank. The front plank is basically going to be the base exercise, and we're going to regress from there or progress from there. So the bear plank is basically hands and knees, round the upper back, tuck the hips, or you just squeeze the glutes. Basically, is that a posterior pelvic tilt or an anterior pelvic tilt when I cue squeeze the glutes? Is that posterior pelvic tilt or anterior pelvic tilt? So is that anterior pelvic tilt or posterior pelvic tilt? It's posterior pelvic tilt. So that's tucking the hips is posterior pelvic tilt. That's what we want with most exercises that we're in. We want a posterior pelvic tilt. We want the shoulder over the hips. We're trying to stack the body here. We don't want a side bend. We don't want arch of the back. We don't want to be arching the back when we're pressing or pulling or squatting or hinging. So we're basically trying to find this stacked position, which is basically the core getting into an alignment, which is basically corrective exercises for core posture. So basically when we're teaching any core exercise, we're also technically increasing or getting better posture from better core, because we're able to express those muscles for the posture. So bear plank, hands and knees, round the upper back, tuck the hips. The feet are directly behind the knees. Sometimes you'll see people kind of like this, the feet out, or it'll be like this or like this. The feet kind of be into the ground like this. Make sure that the feet are directly behind the knees. The knees are underneath the hips. The hands are in front of the knees. Okay? You can have them a little bit wider, but that just keeps everything in line. And then from here, around the back, tuck the hips. knees off the ground an inch, hold, inhale through the nose, exhale, pierce lips out the mouth, hold, beginner, phase 1, 3 inhales, 3 exhales, phase 2, 5 inhales, 5 exhales. Phase 3, I might go 5 to 8, and I'm not gonna go past 8 breaths per core exercise, okay? So if I inhale and exhale, that could be 6 seconds. 6 times 5 is 30 seconds. So it's about 30 seconds if you do about 5 reps. All right, so that's your bear plank. Front plank, okay? So your plank, anti-extension. Remember, anti-extension meaning that your hips don't go down, because if my hips go down, I'm extending my spine. When I bring my hips up, I'm flexing my spine. So that's why it's called anti-extension. And since we're not moving anywhere, it's an isometric exercise, okay? So the front plank, palms face down, elbows in line with the shoulders. You can interlace the hands or palms can be facing down, okay? Knees will draw back, feet are in line with the knees. You want to find that knee plank first. So from here, you're basically finding that knee plank with a rounded upper back, tucked pelvis with the toes down. And then from here, all you're doing is just extending the knees. And then you're in your front plank position. From here, inhale through the nose, long exhale out through the mouth, 3 to 5 breaths while you're doing the front plank. Okay, so there's your front plank. Push-up plank is just basically a push-up position. So starting in the hands and knees position, hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, around the upper back, tuck the hips, and then from here, extend the knees and try to keep a straight line from the back of the head to the upper back to the lower back. And we're gonna hold that position, inhale through the nose, exhale out the mouth with pierced lips for 3 to 5 inhales and exhales. That's your push-up plank. Ball roll out. So now we're taking this anti-extension exercise and we're making it dynamic, okay? So this is a dynamic anti-extension exercise or progression from the planks. So we have the ball rollout. So I start with my forearms on the ball and I get in that forearm knee plank position, but my forearms will be on the ball. From here, I'm gonna reach, I'm gonna push my hands into the ball, not my forearms. I'm gonna start in the tall kneeling position with my hands on the ball. From here, I'm gonna reach all the way out overhead until my arms are totally straight. I'm gonna feel the tension in my core, and then I'm gonna push into the ball back to the start. So I'm placing my hands on the ball. From here, I'm gonna push the ball forward and then roll the ball back. So set up in the plank position or the kneeling position with your hands on the ball. Roll the ball forward, roll the ball back, and you're gonna feel the tension throughout the core in the front of the abs for that. Does anybody wanna try the ab rollout? This one's tough. So you wanna really hook your feet into the ground. Some people will put like a ball, like a med ball behind them to like squeeze. Has anyone ever done this before? Ab rollout, okay? So just like that, a lot of times, this is a really hard one for people to learn. So sometimes their arms aren't stiff enough and they'll kind of collapse into the ball and they'll go like this. Or they can't do this without an anterior pelvic tilt. So they have to do it with their back arched. They can't get into this hollow hold position, okay? Anybody want to try it?
Wait, so is that like a substitute for like the ab roller thing? Like
Yeah, so this would be pre-ab roller. Yeah, do I have an ab roller out? Yeah, I have the ab rollout, so that comes next, okay? Yeah. Is there an ab roller in here? I probably meant to bring that. So you can You can sub it, the ab roller, with, y'all know what I'm about to do? Have y'all ever used the ab roller before, ab rollout? Those are really tough. Now, what does that also get beside core? Shoulders and upper body, right? So upper body, shoulders, because your arms go overhead. So that means your lats have to be isometrically contracting. And you need good shoulder mobility. So you can also do the ab rollout. Does anybody know what I'm about to do? Brooke knows. Yeah. So you can do it with a barbell. So this, I probably like a little bit better than the ball, because this is going to give more direct information to the individual, because it's a straight bar. It's not as, this is kind of bouncy. So basically, ab rollout. I like the knees narrow. I don't like the knees are definitely not wide for the ab rollout or the ball rollout. Feet and knees are narrow. Arms for the barbell rollout are shoulder distance. And from here, you're going to push it forward into the ground, and arms will go overhead. And then you're going to drive it back, bar over the chest or under the chest. So bar starts under the chest, push it overhead, push it into the ground, back to start. Does anybody want to try this one? Intrigue anybody? You want to try that one? So,
how many reps are we looking for?
So the ab rollout is not going to be a breath exercise. So I'm not going to say 3 to 5 reps. I'm going to say for a beginner, 3 to 5 reps. Phase 2, 3, 5 to 8. Maybe going to 10 to 12. Phase 3, phase 4. There you go. Come on. Yep. Round this out. Yep. Round that out. Come back up. Yep. So watch this. See how you're going like this? Bring those shoulders down. Yeah. You see how you're arching your back a little? Round. Arch. Watch my back. Yeah, go on. Yeah. All right, go ahead. Come back. Good. Come out. Breathe. Exhale on the way out. So the breathing here would be inhale, hold, and then exhale, return. For most exercises, you're going to inhale. Good job, Ken. How do you feel? Do you feel that? Would you feel it? Arms and core, or mainly core?
Mainly core.
Mainly core? Okay. So that's going to be all front. Ball saw. Ball saw. So basically the ball saw is when you start in the kneeling. I'm in the kneeling position, tall kneeling to be exact. Start in the kneeling position with your forearms on the ball. So I'll just say, start with your forearms on the ball. From here, get into a plank position or push yourself into a plank position. From the plank position, you're going to press the ball overhead and then press the ball back to the start. Okay, the ball to start is just going to be right underneath the chest. And then when you're performing the exercise, you're going to push the ball forward and above the head and then return it back to start. So start with the forearms on the ball in the kneeling position. Press into a forearm plank. From here, push the ball overhead and return it to the start. Push the ball overhead and return back to the start. Okay? So that would be your ball saw exercise. Okay? Ball circles. Okay? You can also call this stir the pot. Okay? Same setup. Start in the kneeling position with the forearms on the ball. Push into a forearm plank position. Now when you're in this position, notice how relaxed my shoulders are here. I'm retracting the scapula and I'm just hanging out. From here, I want to make sure that I'm protracting the scapula. Okay, so it's easy to get in this here and see your client go like this or someone go like this and like really just retract those scaps because it's a lot easier to do that. It's a lot harder to push away from the ball. Now what's doing that? The serratus anterior here on the ribs mainly. Okay, so forearms, knees, start in the kneeling position, forearms on the ball, push into the forearm plank position. From here, keep the integrity of the form. From here, we're just gonna draw big circles with the ball. You can go 3 circles one way, and then 3 circles the other way. So this is challenging anti-rotation by creating kind of oscillation or movement of the upper body as I'm trying to stay stable in that position. Okay, so that's your ball circles, or you can call that stir the pot. Okay, low plank valve slide saw. Okay, so low plank, so that's just your front plank. That's just to differentiate it from your push-up plank, which can be called a plank as well. So you have your low plank valve slide saw. Forearms, basically start with your feet on the valve slides in the forearm knee plank position. Then push yourself in the push-up position. From here, you're going to push into the ground with your forearms so that your arms go overhead and draw a long lever in your core, and then you're going to pull back or saw the ground back to the starting position. So starting in the forearm plank position with the feet on the valve slides, you're going to push into the ground so that the arms go overhead and then pull yourself back. Or you can simply say you're going to saw the ground forward and back. And how many reps do you think you're going to do here, forward and back, for phase 1?
3 to 5.
3 to 5 reps, phase 1, and then 5 to 8, phase 2. And you could probably cap it around 12, maybe 15 for maybe your second year, something like that. So I'll give you another demo. Anybody want to try that one? Oh, it's tough. That was a ripper. All right, so front plank row, okay, and then push up plank row. So this one involves the cable, okay, but I could just show you with a band. It might be more practical with a band anyway down the line. I'm trying to think of I'll just have somebody hold it for me. All right, Eddie, hold it for me, please. So, starting in a forearm plank position, holding onto a band or a cable. So starting in a forearm plank position, holding one arm onto a band or cable. Obviously you can't do it 2. So go to half kneeling and step back a little bit more. So starting in a forearm plank position, holding onto a band or cable, you're going to reach forward, overhead, balance as you're doing this, and then pull down, reach forward, pull down, and perform about 5 reps on each side. So you're in that forearm plank position, but while you're in that position, you're performing an overhead or a downward or vertical row or pull down. Okay, one more. And then the same thing, push-up plank row. That's to help you differentiate it from that forearm plank or low plank. So I'll be in the push-up plank position, same thing. So move back, and again, I want to make sure I'm not opening up this hip. I still want to keep that hip down and look straight down. Again, about 3 to 5 reps for so in phase 1. So those are some variations and progressions for that anti-extension. So anti-extension itself is its own category. Now we'll move into anti-lateral flexion. So that's the ability to not bend to the side. Whereas here, we're trying not to flex the spine in all the things that we were doing. Now we're going to try not to laterally bend the spine. Now, there is these anti-core exercises, and then there's rotational and movement-based core exercises. There's not a good or bad. There's just differences between the different categories. So like a basic sit-up isn't an anti-core exercise, right? We just label that as a sit-up category. So there's lots of different types of sit-ups. We'll get into that a little bit too. Anti-lateral flexion, short lever side plank, long lever side plank. So short lever side plank, line up, find a line, and put your knees, hip, and elbow on that line. Bend your knees about 90 degrees. From here, push the elbow and bottom knee into the ground. From here, look straight ahead, straight back here. We don't want to be flexed over, or hunchback, or rotated forward. And we're going to hold here 3 to 5 inhales and exhales on each side. Okay? Long lever side plank from the short lever side plank position, and you already have those directions. Extend the knees. From here, push the elbows into the ground, push the bottom foot and hips into the ground. Lift the hips up as high as possible, shoulder back, look straight ahead. Okay? So we don't want our head to move forward, and we don't want our shoulders around forward. So cues are shoulders back, head back, and chin down. So a lot of times people heads are forward or heads are back and up. You want the chin down, almost like you're being measured here as you would if you were standing. Okay? Side plank row. Okay? So I'll need you, Eddie, there. So basically, you can do this in the knee side plank variation as well. You can go half kneeling. So holding on to a cable or band, start in the side plank position, and then from here you're going to row it so that the hand goes to the rib cage, and then reach out and repeat. So row, hold, return, row, hold, return, and you'll perform 5 to 8 reps on each side. So that would be the progression of the long lever side plank. Okay, you have the side plank row. Side plank press. Side plank press. So that is going to be when, if you're holding on to that band for me, Eddie. Sorry. So you hold it in half kneeling position. Okay. Let's see if this is even going to work. I don't think this is a one you can even do. Side plank press. Is that possible? I don't think. Am I thinking? What am I thinking here? I'm trying to think about this one. I don't think. Is this it here? So it would be this here. Oh, okay. I guess this makes sense, but I'm not too big of a fan of it. I can already tell I don't like it. I think that's what. So basically, side plank press, same thing. Side plank position, press with a band or cable. Probably not that practical. Might have been an error, because I'm not too sure that one even belongs in there.
Would it be better to press it overhead rather than forward?
Like this way? You mean like this?
Yeah.
No, yeah, we don't want to be doing that. So, yeah, I mean, I guess this is okay. That's honestly, it's probably you can probably scratch that one. I wouldn't even care if you didn't include that one. So that side plank press, I don't believe even belongs in there. What it could be, it could be I could be thinking about the plank press, which is a little bit different. But I think that's what I meant, and it wasn't even supposed to be there. So this is the plank press. I definitely don't think it was this. So I think I just got some lingo crossed there, okay? But that's the plank press. That one's pretty cool too, but we don't even have to worry about that one. So we have side plank row. I did that, side plank press, not great. Suitcase carry, okay? Holding on to a suitcase or a kettlebell, so just holding on to weight in one hand. Trying to find a line and moving about 20 yards, 10 to 20 yards, down with one arm and then back with the other arm. If you can, find a line and go heel over toe and try to walk in line on that line, looking straight ahead. And as you're doing that, we want to make sure we're not bending. So as we're walking, we want to be walking upright and straight. If you can make it harder by going heel over toe. But the first thing you should just make sure is that the kettlebell isn't kind of moving kind of like this. Like that they have a firm grip, that it's not moving side to side, and that they feel like their chest is up and they're not dragging it down. So when we do this, when we're holding onto this kettlebell, this section of our core has to light up or contract, isometrically engage as I travel through space, right? So that's why the single leg, single arm carrying exercise is an anti-lateral flexion exercise, okay? So suitcase carry, feet are hip width distance, walk forward with the weight. As you walk forward, keep the body upright and back straight. And don't allow the bell to move side to side. Keep the bell as stable as possible. Progression, walk heel in front of toe and look straight ahead, okay? Overhead cable iso. So you can do this with a band or a cable. So basically, overhead cable iso, stand next to a cable machine, holding onto a single cable, what do you call this thing here? Single cable pulley is what you can call it. You know, grab the pulley, pull it, and reach overhead to start. Then from here, you're just holding this position. Because what's the weight trying to do? The weight is trying to pull me down. So what I'm doing here is I have to isometrically contract this side of my core here, okay? So this would be a standing overhead iso hold, okay? Using a cable, you can also use a band, okay? And so I might hold with a little bit of lateral flexion just to keep the core engaged, or you could hold straight up just like this. You might have to increase the weight if you don't feel it that much. So probably 10 to 15 second holds each side. And I would just play around with the weight. I wouldn't play around with the time. I would just increase the weight over time. I would say 10 to 15 seconds each side, then increase the weight over time. Eventually, yes, you can turn this into a lateral flexion exercise. Just like that. You could also do this. So this would be a lateral flexion exercise. That is not an anti-lateral flexion exercise. So CFSC, they're very firm believers in the anti-core exercises, more so than the rotational and movement-based core exercises. They have reasons they debate the reason why they have meaning behind why they train that way, because they believe the spine in its purest form basically is kind of like when you're sailing and you have that long pole and it's got the flag out for shifting your direction, and so that strong cable or that strong pole is like the core, very solid and firm, and then you have the shifting winds and you have the boat moving based on that stiff core, that stiff kind of driving force. So basically they consider the core something that should be stabilized using the anti-methods, but they also do sit-ups and rotational exercises too. But they just try to concern more the anti-aspect. So next one, side extension iso. So side extension iso, what you can do is you can have a partner hold my legs to the bench. Have you all ever seen that before? So my partner will hold my legs to the bench, and then I'll put my hands on my chest and I'll lay out to the side and they'll kind of hold me into the ground. Anybody want to push my legs into the bench? I don't even know if I can do this one. Anybody want to push my legs into the bench real quick? Help me out. Nobody?
I'll do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Harley. Has anyone ever seen this one? Side extension iso. So lay across the bench. Partner is going to push down on the legs. So push down on my legs. And then I'm going to extend my spine. Whoa! And I'm going to hold for about 5 to 10 seconds. And then I would switch. I would switch to the other side after that. Thank you. Clap it up. Has anyone done those before? Those are actually the progression of what I'm about to show you. So the other option is finding a side extension machine, basically, and getting into that side extension position and then holding right here. So this would be a side extension iso hold. And then obviously you can add in the lateral flexion aspect. I actually really like this exercise as a side core exercise. I actually like the flexion of it a little bit better than I do the iso hold. So here's the iso hold. You can add weight, progress this, to overload this exercise. You can grab like a 5, 10, 15 pound dumbbell, hold about 10 to 15 seconds on each side. So this would be your side extension iso hold. So challenging those muscles to contract isometrically while holding that side extension. Okay, last couple here. Anti-rotation, so you have your bare shoulder tap. Okay, let's see. Time we start 11. Okay, we're gonna have to cut it off there. Okay, so let's just cut it off there. Let's get Piper ready to get set up. And if there's any exercises we miss in class, I'll just create a video for those exercises. Okay? Because I don't want to rush y'all either, and I want to make sure that Piper's got enough time. So, Piper, anything they need to do to get ready, or do you just want them to get some personal space, get ready for their warm up? Okay, so go ahead and just find your own space within the room. So that's going to be they can take their weight. Let's see. Well, pull down is station 2. Station 1 can be out here. Yeah. Yeah, both kind of share this area.